In 1941, Britain was struggling in the deserts of North Africa. Rommel's Afrika Korps seemed unstoppable, striking with speed and power. Amid this chaos, a young officer named David Stirling had a daring idea. Instead of huge armies clashing, what if a small band of men could slip behind enemy lines, strike at their weakest points, and vanish before the enemy could respond? Stirling pitched his vision of sabotage and stealth directly to high command. Against all odds, it was approved. The Special Air Service, just 55 men at the start, was born. Their first test would be a night raid by parachute, straight into the heart of enemy territory. The mission would prove whether Stirling's vision was madness or the future of modern warfare. On the night of the 16th of November 1941, the first SAS mission began. 55 men climbed into RAF bombers bound for German airfields near Gazala in Libya. Their task: destroy dozens of parked aircraft that threatened Britain's desert armies. At 8,000 feet, they leapt into the darkness, but fate struck hard. A sudden, violent desert storm rolled across the drop zone, scattering the men for miles. Parachutes were torn, weapons lost, and radios smashed. Some soldiers landed injured, others in enemy territory. What was meant to be a precision strike turned chaotic in seconds. The storm turned Stirling's daring experiment into a nightmare, and the desert became as deadly as the enemy they had come to fight. The storm tore the mission apart. Many parachuted miles from their targets, stumbling in the dark sands with no bearings. Explosives were soaked, fuses ruined, and supplies lost. Some men never found their units again, captured by German patrols or perishing in the freezing desert night. Only small groups managed to regroup, far fewer than Stirling had planned. Exhausted, they tried pushing toward the airfields, but with no radios and little equipment, coordination was impossible. What had begun as a bold strike against the Luftwaffe was now a desperate struggle just to stay alive in the vast desert, hunted by the enemy and abandoned by the weather. By dawn, the scale of disaster was clear. Of the 55 SAS men, fewer than half reached their targets. Most carried no working explosives, and those who did found their charges ruined by the storm. Only a handful managed to plant bombs, destroying a few aircraft before slipping away into the desert. The airfields, packed with German planes, remained largely untouched. On paper, the mission was a complete failure, but in that failure lay a vital lesson. Stirling realized parachuting into desert storms was suicide. The SAS would need a new approach, one that relied on stealth, speed, and the desert itself. A setback, yes, but also the seed of future triumphs. The survivors of the raid now faced the most dangerous challenge of all: survival in the desert. Cut off, low on food and water, and miles from safety, they began a brutal march across the sands. Here, an unlikely ally proved decisive: the long-range desert group. Masters of desert navigation, the LRDG, drove deep behind enemy lines in camouflaged trucks, locating Stirling's scattered men. One by one, they hauled the exhausted survivors out of the wasteland. Without the LRDG, the SAS might have ended in the sands of Libya. Instead, the unit lived to fight, again scarred, but not broken. The first raid had failed, but David Stirling refused to see it as defeat. The storm had ruined their plan, not the idea itself. He studied what went wrong and reshaped his tactics. Parachuting was out. Instead, the SAS would use the desert to their advantage, driving in with a long-range desert group, striking fast and vanishing before the enemy could respond. Soon after, the new approach was tested, and it worked. In a single night, the SAS destroyed dozens of German aircraft on the ground, crippling Rommel's air power. From failure came evolution, and from evolution, success. In the scorching sands of North Africa, a legend was born. The SAS, forged in the crucible of World War II, emerged from disaster to become an elite fighting force. Their first mission, a catastrophic failure, became the foundation of their identity. David Stirling, a visionary Scottish officer, saw beyond conventional warfare. He envisioned men of extraordinary courage and resilience, thriving in the harshest conditions. The desert taught hard lessons. Speed, stealth, and precision trumped brute force. World War II jeeps became their chariots, racing across dunes on daring raids. With each mission, the SAS honed their skills, transforming from novices to masters of desert warfare. What began as a desperate gamble evolved into a legendary unit. Every raid, every hardship endured, added to their mystique. The SAS soldiers, elite warriors shaped by failure and triumph, became synonymous with courage and ingenuity. Their legacy, born in the sands, continues to inspire to this day. From the storm of 1941 rose the most famous Special Forces unit in the world. The SAS had turned disaster into destiny, proving that daring small teams could strike harder than entire armies. Their motto, "Who dares wins," was born in blood and sand. This was only the beginning. Soon, the SAS would launch raids that shook Rommel's command and reshaped desert warfare. In our next episode, we'll dive into one of their most devastating strikes. Don't miss it. Like and subscribe to Clash Chronicles for more epic history.